All right, guys, welcome back to Go. Today we're going to do the Immortal Hulk, issue number 26, covered by Alex Ross. I don't know why Joe Fixit is in on here. I mean, he's one and the same, so they are not two separate human bodies. Okay, nothing matters. Issue 25 was a disaster. I think this is even worse because this is a Gen Z's wet dream, because it has a lot of politics and activism. So I didn't like it, and now you're going to suffer with me because we're going to do this all over again. So I'm not going to tell you about wasted paper. So Mr. Bruce Wayne here sits his all smug, right? This is a chair for the Hulk. And he is doing some kind of a manifesto that he is now broadcasting from a secret location called the Shadow Base. It was an organization tasked to vivisect him and create weapons from his body, and they got a black budget from the nation's military, $1.2 billion, right? And he says, well, it could have gone to education and medicine and renewable energy. But no, they spend it on bombs and guns and etc. And he says, is this the world we live in? It's the human world. All right, let's go. And so he sits there in this bar, right, or restaurant in Massachusetts, and he's talking to this restaurant owner, I guess. And then we have Amadeus Cho, who had his own series as the Hulk, as the totally awesome Hulk. Duh. Of course, it was a flop. And he talks about that he has lost or needs to lose the paparazzi, which is hilarious to me. I mean, if I remember, you just come, returned back to your human form and then you could lose them. But no, okay. For those who don't know, Amadeus Cho was helping the Hulk or Hulks a lot, and he is the world's third smartest person or something like that. But, he is now a superhero because we can't have smart people being smart. They have to have superpowers too, right? Or something like that. Anyway, so he says, hey, I saw your manifesto. He said, what's going on here? What the hell are you doing, right? So he's basically challenging Hulk or Bruce, and Bruce doesn't like that. Oh. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big Bruce Banner fan. I mean, the Hulk is one of my favorite characters. This is not it. Ewing, I have a really love-hate relation with this guy. I'm not even joking. I like some of his work, but then he goes in the complete opposite spectrum. Don't forget, guys, this book has been made in around 2020, the year of Marvel activism in full swing. All right, so the news got wind of this manifesto because it was released on the World Wide Web, and of course everybody's talking about it. And Roxline, like Roxanne. We're coming back to that. So Samson asked them the question because this trans woman, yes, I don't care about that, but why is it in here? Well, because of the reasons that I just told you, activism, right? He talked about the Hulk syndrome, right? And he says that it is known, gamma mutation, known for similar to dissociative identity disorder. And I believe every gamma irradiated person has that somehow. So she says gamma transfer reflects a mental condition on the gamma donor, which is a little bit weird to me. I thought it was just established as canon that if you are being bombarded with gamma radiation, you change in... Let's say the Hulk has, Bruce had a lot of anger in him, right? As a child, because of what happened in his childhood. Turned him into a monster, repressed rage. We have Samson here, who was just a therapeutic doctor. He was a loser. And he could have, used gamma radiation to turn himself into one of the world's strongest men, like from the Bible. Samson, good looking, muscles, long hair, etc. These are reflections of people's desires and even their inner, ugliness or the other way around. It's just, right? Just like with the leader, he was just a janitor and then he turned himself into the smartest man. But now suddenly it's also to do with mental conditions or something like that. Anyway, so she talks about, the money that they gave, and that they are being, spent in, I don't know, on shadow base and what they are ordering. Anyway, she has a team with her. And Samson questions her, so you went from fighting Bruce to following just like that? Well, remember, General Fortune was the only thing that keeping us out of jail. He's gone. And, the girl is to study Banner and, curing poor irradiated persons like this guy here, right? How much of this is guilt talking, Doctor? He's right, Leonard. What he's saying, those broadcasts he's making, I honestly think he's right. I believe in Bruce Banner. Do you? No. Well, I don't. Coming down. So more news, and then we have, I don't know, vandalizing, Rick Jones doing some kind of band, punk band performance with, of course, the rainbow flag. Then we have Antifa here, because they're anti-establishment and, kill all the rich, right? Or something like that. And this police says they're all criminals, every one of them, from the leaders on down. You are absolutely right, my guy. There is a little bit, it's not really balanced. It's more pro-activism in this book than, there's a clean balance between, what the opposite is saying. It's just more, it's very one-sided in my opinion. And then we have Charlene McGowan, right? She's a drug dealer and manufacturer, and now she's part of the Hulk crew. So the new Shadow Base commander, she was the key. She always was. Rick told me how she put her life on the line for her team. Those who stay with her base, with her, she has their absolute loyalty, and she has chosen to work with me. So I have their absolute loyalty. So Amadeus is challenging him just a little bit, right? So what happened to the old commander? Bruce doesn't say it. And so he says, if I die, do I stay dead? Because, the Hulks are known for, not staying dead for a very long time. But Bruce says, hey, don't try it. I mean, there's a couple of people that are still dead, like Walter, Sasquatch, and General Ross. And he also questions about which Hulk is now dominating Bruce, right? Because he talks about, the older Hulk, like Professor Hulk or the Green Scar, like from Planet Hulk. And he says, I'm not sure why they are dormant. Amadeus doesn't believe him. He says, come on, dude. I know about Angle. I struggle with that. I know what it likes to want to save the world. And he says, no, I don't. The world can be saved, not the human world. Now, here comes the activism in play, right? Earth climate is rapidly changing, right? The world the humans built is not sustainable. And there is still short-term profit to be made. So the same systems are allowed to continue. Our dead body, if need be. Amadeus says, well, humans can turn around, right? I mean, there's still hope. And he says he doesn't believe in that anymore. Now, coming back to this about the whole climate change thing, I mean, it's all these activist writers that they're still in Marvel. I believe the most of them are gone, right? But they're still there. But, still in the 2019, 2020s and on, there's a lot of full of activism with these books. That's why they are being so hated much. I believe this was one of the better Hulks, depending how you look at it. But they don't know the character. I mean, they talk about climate change, right? Real world problems, but they forget that Bruce Banner, once upon a time, did, gamma radiations experiments in the desert of Mexico, which resulted into exploding the gamma bomb, turning him into the freaking Hulk, right? And what about, all the damage the Hulk did through the years, destroying buildings and how do you say, laboratoriums that exploded, fire, smoke, chemicals going up into the air, all this gamma radiation. What do you think that does with the climate, my dude? Fucking hypocrites, man. You're all scum. I hate activists. So he goes on a rant about that, that there's the heroes there are reinforcing the status quo, like Stark and Richards, and right, and they don't want to look at green technology, whatever that means, right? And then he says there are the young people, and you do give me some hope. Now he does, of course, this is not really the young people he means. Those are these freaking climate activists, those TikTok idiots that are spouting all this nonsense and throwing paint on how do you say it, in museums, and sticking themselves to cars and in the pavement, all these crap. That is what he's talking about, right? Not these older guys that don't know nothing about the whole world. No. These left-leaning, extreme leftist-leaning activists. It's crazy, right? So he says, I cannot save the world. I'm not that person anymore. I can build what needs to be built, but I can smash what needs to be smashed. And he also blames him for not being the right hero. So again, if these leftists not getting what they want, they're going to use violence. The tolerant left, right? This is all political garbage. What's in here, right? And I do not recognize Bruce Banner anymore. I know he can be unhinged. I know he is being sometimes controlled by the gamma radiation and the monster inside. But this is totally different. This is just the writer talking. So more politics that I'm not going into. And then we go to Arizona, and there is we have McGee here. There's the reporter that was in the last couple of issues with Bruce Banner, and he got a new office, and they need basically new stories, right? So this guy says, hey, how close to them would you say you were with Banner? She says, I created or helped plan it to the Shadow Base raid, right? But she says, yeah, I helped because Fortune wants to kill her, and she just basically collaborated with Bruce Banner and his gang. So he says she's not sorry. This guy, we need to keep this between these four walls, otherwise they will be construed with conspiracy with a known terrorist, and also manufacturing news because they have inside information, right? So McGee says, this is tomorrow's front page. The government is ready to announce they're subcontracting anti-Hulk operations. Guess who was the winning bidder? Hulk promised new wave of terror. It's true. I mean, I hate Roxxon. I mean, these are the evil guys, but in this case, they are absolutely right, in my opinion. Anyway, so the Hulk is, Bruce Banner is more spouting anti-capitalism nonsense here and climate change. I mean, we already had it. Why waste a page on this, right? So, and all of these other companies, tech companies, the powers that be profiting on manufactured drama and wars and things that they control. I have my own opinions about that, and but like I said, socialism doesn't work at all, ever, right? We thrive here in the West because of capitalism. That's how it is. Yes, it's built on the bodies of the people that came before us, with wars and slavery. We don't like it, but it happens, right? It still happens. You don't hear me whining about it. Anyway, I'm not in favor of that. I wanted to point that out. But still, but Mr. Holier Than Thou, Bruce Banner, is saying, that, okay, I know, the Hulk is a blunt instrument. If it's going to be used, it needs to be carefully targeted, right? Because Amadeus calls him out, hey, so you want to use the Hulk then as a weapon, right? But I think it should be one of the major problems with those systems, as I see, is a lack of consequences. Cruelty, human short-sightedness, human anger. Those are things that are currently being exaggerated, manipulated for profit. Dude, Didn't you work for the government to make a freaking bomb? Did that all for free, Mr. Bruce Banner, Mr. Highly, I know it all better, you know, you hypocrite. I'm talking to the writer, of course, not Bruce particular, right? Because he's just a puppet for these idiots. So there are says that the entities are too big to fail, right? And but what if you were to target one of these entities and make them pay, actually pay? What if you never stopped? Yeah, use more violence to get what you want. That's a great idea, Bruce. Amadeus stands up. He says, "See, I'm not a Hulk anymore. I know anger. I know what it's, you know, what it is and what it can do to you. I'm one of the smartest people in the world. I couldn't solve the problem it brought." But he says, "Hey, I still trust you, and you need to plan carefully." So this counterbalance that needs to be in this book is saying, "Oh yeah, just go ahead with your terrorism." And he's calling himself the third smartest person in the world. Are you freaking kidding me? And he also that Bruce is an angry middle-class white guy. What has race to do with this dude? Nothing. But you can't help yourself, right? So he says, "I didn't lose my temper with him, did I?" And then this guy talks to him, and it's, oh no, it's Namor. What does the Prince of Atlantis doing in a diner cooking meals for Bruce Banner? What are you doing? This is not what he. Oh man. All right. So blah blah. He says, "Let me give you my advice." So what he's doing here is saying it's going to happen. If there are no meaningful consequences for those who would use their power to engineer and profit from disaster, then we will create one. In 1 week, you're going to hear about the Hulk rampage, a targeted Hulk rampage against a particular entity, a declaration of war. They're going to use violence, man. Fucking activists. Antifa. Freaking awesome. That's how I see it, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. If this was just a normal, I like things being challenged, right? I like different kinds of stories. I don't care about certain political opinions in comic books, but when it's very one-sided, except, you know, especially, you know, the side that causes a lot of problems in this world, you know, still to this day, a lot of people suffer from those people, you know. I don't think this is a good book. I mean, this is a book for, like I said, Gen Z that wants to get brainwashed by all this activism and political bullshit. I hate it. All right. So we have this head of Roxxon. He is revealing his true shape, but he doesn't care anymore. And he talks about the war between humanity and the elves. And he backed the elves at one time. Treason is in any sense of the word. High crimes committed in the public view. But what were the consequences? Petition, think pieces, lackluster boycotts of our more obvious brands. Remember the Sydney Sweeney Good Jeans ad? People said, I'm gonna boycott that, you know, American Eagle. It's gone in seconds because the next drama is around the corner again, right? All right, so he is Dario Agger, CEO of the Roxxon Energy. In its true form, nobody will care. It's too difficult to care. Talks about money and power. And then because people are living in a labyrinth, and he is the freaking Minotaur. And then, okay, we're going to the next issue, right? I mean, the art looks great. There is some fun bits in this series, but it's there's a lot of crap in here, like this, you know? And I mean, 25 was a horrible issue, and I think this is even worse because of all this political nonsense. I can't even say the word anymore. Political nonsense. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was exhausting for me. I hope you liked the video. Please leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. More of this crap is coming. I hope not, but it does. See you next time. Bye-bye.